Hi, everyone, and welcome to Module 5. I really enjoyed taking a look at some of the solutions that you came up with, and you're all heading in the right direction. I'm really excited to see how this progresses. So in Module 5, let's go ahead and take a walk through. Click on the modules link and scroll down until you get to Module 5. And once you're there, you will click on the Module 5 overview to begin. And as soon as that page loads, you will see that in this module, you're going to be building on your problem solution proposal by creating a multimodal advocacy ad or a PSA analysis. So there are some things to read, of course, in Top Hat. We're going to have a discussion, and then you'll submit an argument plan. So go ahead and hit the next button, and that'll bring you over to those Top Hat materials. You'll complete the Top Hat materials as requested before for Module 5 before diving into the assignments for this week. And then after you've concluded with the Top Hat materials, you'll click the next button and move on to the additional learning materials. And once you're there, you will see that there is something to read on how to create an advocacy ad or a PSA. And so the advocacy ad or the PSA should be done by you, not by AI. So if there was any confusion about that in any of the previous material or instructions you saw for our final project, you will be composing your own original advocacy ad or PSA. So go ahead and click the next button. And then you will see that we will be doing an argument plan called Rhetorical Considerations. This will take about 4 to 5 hours to complete. And you're going to practice engaging with diverse audiences, choosing different genres, and developing a writing project through connected assignments. So in this overview, you'll see this is an invention assignment, and you're going to be planning out your solution proposal for the problem that you have researched. So you're going to be looking at all the previous work you've done, considering the feedback, and then moving forward from there. So go ahead and scroll down, and you'll see that first piece is to reflect on the feedback that you've received and how you're going to use that feedback in the composition of this assignment. In step 2, you're going to describe the problem, the audience, and the genre. So the target audience, remember, has to be a decision maker or decision-making body in your specific community, and you're going to be creating a letter or a memo. So make sure that you have those two pieces in place, and you'll be ready to move on to step 3. In step 3, you'll notice that you're going to be thinking about alternative solutions and their drawbacks. So you're going to be essentially evaluating the solutions that you found in the last module and discussing some of the drawbacks they might have, whether or not they worked. Some of you suggested some solutions that have already been tried, and so you need to think about whether or not those solutions worked, why they worked, or why they didn't work. Then you're going to be stating the best solution and explaining why that is the best solution, why it's the most logical and feasible solution to solve your problem. You'll be providing some justification by providing 2 to 3 convincing reasons why your audience should accept that proposed solution and act on it. And don't forget your evidence, and any personal claims should be backed up with research. Then you can see, moving on, we're going to be approaching the counter arguments and rebuttal section. So you're going to put yourself in the shoes of a skeptical person and resistance to your solution, somebody that would resist that solution, and list 2 possible objections or concerns that they might bring up to challenge the solution that you've proposed. So then you're going to describe how you're going to respond to those challenges in your counter arguments, and you're going to include evidence to support your rebuttal. And again, remember, all personal opinions and claims have to be supported with convincing audience-specific evidence and research. There's an optional AI component which you can use with some prompts there to help you get started. And then you're going to be concluding with your call to action. So you're going to explain what rhetorical strategies you might use to offer a convincing call to action. And we'll be putting that call to action into the research draft. So give that some thought on what you want to say to your decision-making body to make sure that you are suggesting that this is an urgent problem that needs to be dealt with, and you've suggested a solution to best take care of this problem. So then in step 4, you're going to be composing your preliminary thesis. And as you can see here, you'll state your main claim, the solution you're proposing, and then 2 to 3 audience appropriate reasons in support. And then you can go on to step 5, which is to conduct your supplementary research. So you're making a persuasive argument in support of your proposed solution. So you're going to have to address any gaps in your existing research so far by providing ample supporting evidence. You also need to consider your audience's possible objections and concerns and research them to respond to them effectively. So you'll provide 1 to 2 additional sources to fill in these gaps in your research and enhance your argument. So I should, when you draft your proposal, when you complete the rough draft, I should see research in both the counter argument and the rebuttal section of that draft. And then you will be documenting them in APA style as they would appear on a reference list. And then finally, step 6, you're going to be planning for your advocacy ad or PSA. So you're going to indicate to me in step 6 whether or not you're going to create an advocacy ad or a video PSA, and who that audience will be and how it will complement your proposal. So you can see here there's an AI component, and you can think about what image or video design tool might you use and why. Canva, DALL-E, an image generating AI tool, but please note that AI cannot itself create effective multimodal texts. So even though it can be useful in creating images, how might this affect how you make technology choices for your ad or PSA? So you can use AI to research programs that you might use to create your advocacy ad or PSA, but please complete this part on your own instead of generating an image from AI. And if you scroll down, you'll see the submission requirements are 750 to 1,000 words, Microsoft Word compatible format or PDF, and you're going to be submitting your assignment to Canvas as you have been all term. If you scroll down, you'll see the grading rubric entails 2 things: whether or not you've fulfilled all those requirements, and if you've considered the feedback on your previous assignments. And so go ahead and click the next button at the bottom of the page. And this is going to talk more about your multimodal advocacy ad and PSA analysis. And we'll be having a discussion about that. Your mentor should be involved in this discussion. So hopefully you'll get some good feedback on your posts from both your peers and your writing mentor. And here you are going to scroll down to the instructions, and you're going to find first a real world example of your chosen genre for the problem solution proposal project, either an advocacy ad or a video PSA. So this way you'll have something to work with as a sample. And so as you choose this example, keep in mind that the content of the example does not need to be related to your particular project. You're really just looking for the creative piece, the design factors that go into the project. And then step 2, then you're going to analyze and compose. That means in 1 to 2 paragraphs, you're going to analyze your chosen ad or PSA video by responding to the questions below and use specific examples to detail your answers. And then you'll want to make sure to include this ad or PSA by linking it in your response so your peers can take a look at it. So this is not the one that you are creating. This is the sample that you're evaluating. Step 3 is to apply what you learned to your own project. So then you're going to talk about your key takeaways from analyzing the sample that you chose, the design techniques and rhetorical strategies you hope to employ when you're putting together your own, and then what pitfalls you might want to avoid. What did you think worked well in the sample that you chose? And so you might want to avoid that when creating your own. And so their peer responses are optional as usual. And so your submission will be to answer the questions in at least 3 paragraphs. And I'm looking forward to reading them, even though I may not comment on them. I will be taking a look at what you've composed, and you will be submitting information about this to me in a later assignment. So click on the next button and you'll see here in Module 5 that we're going to start drafting a rough draft of our memo or letter. So your feedback draft is going to take approximately 4 to 6 hours. There's nothing to submit yet, but you just want to get started thinking about how you're going to put all of the pieces together so that you have enough time to craft the rough draft. If you scroll down to the instructions, you'll see there are 3 different steps in this process. You're going to gather your ideas, begin writing your draft, and think about your multimodal components. So this is going to be the culmination of all the work that you've done so far in class, and you'll be putting it all together. You can see that in step 2, there's a list of things that you should be thinking about as you're putting together your draft. Go ahead and use that list as a checklist to make sure everything is complete before submitting your draft later in the class. So I hope this has been informative and you're well prepared to start creating the multimodal component and composing your draft. And as usual, please email me if you have any questions. Have a great week.